Okay. Wanna?
All right. You guys want to go watch the Red Sox? I was watching the Braves today. Some of it.
Yeah. The Braves, the Braves for all the players that they lost to win that division is pretty. Here we go.
Yeah, we good. All right, guys. It looks like I had to start a new stream. So I hope you all join us over here. So much love, and we about to start the show. Bendone, you want to get the music, or should I not have you put on music? Because God knows what. All right, my man. I'll wait for you.
Got you.
All right, my man. And then we're going to get the show started. But until then, yeah. All right, what's up, everybody? This is CaseStudyQB, and we are the political junkies. And if you can start from the beginning and listen to the show all the way to the end, you are a political junkie too. Much love to you. And I'm hoping that you could get to this channel, to this stream, because we had some technical difficulties, and our first stream for some reason didn't go off well. We had to restart it over. But let me go around the horn. I was so excited about this show and have so much to discuss. But let's go to my guys. Carlito, Gabe, Izzy, Bendone, John. What's going on, Carlito?
Yo, Herschel Walker's going on right now in Georgia.
What's going on?
It's looking like he has a chance, man.
Uh-oh.
To win the Republican nomination for governor of Georgia.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he has Trump's endorsement. So, he has some MAGA people behind him. And then he's not talking. Like, whenever they ask him questions about controversial topics like abortion, immigration, he tries to not say nothing too crazy or not say anything at all. He's not doing interviews. So there's a chance that he could, because of Trump, get the nomination. But then when he gets to the general, he doesn't say anything too crazy. So people might be like, yo, dude is famous. He's like a god here from being a UGA alum, Georgia football and all that.
Ooh.
Damn. Did he move there? I thought he lived like in Texas or something.
He moved back.
Yeah.
Americans love celebrities, man. They love their celebrities. All right, Gabe.
I just hope that. I'm sorry.
Finish your thought, John.
I just, like I said, I just hope, like, throw him and just be like, oh, let's vote. Let's not just vote for this guy because he's black. You know what I mean? And we don't get another Clyburn or Scott stuff in there.
Wait, this guy's a Republican, right, Carlito?
Yeah.
But
the thing is, he's not even the black thing. He's also a huge celebrity.
Yeah, he's a huge football player. But that's what I mean. I hope that
I got you.
The African American vote, don't just be like, oh yeah, we need to vote for this guy because he's African American.
Yeah.
But he might get some middle of the road Democrats too.
All right, let me shout out Silver Wolf. Much love, and Holly, thank you for coming back to the show and finding the new stream. Gabe, what's going on, my man?
Want to wish everyone a happy Colonizers Day, happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Make sure you're doing your history, doing your research, learning about the real history of what happened to the indigenous people of the Americas. Representing today, you always see me with this shirt, maybe at least once every 3 or 4 weeks on the show. But this is what's been used over the last 5 years or so as the Puerto Rican independence flag, but also the Puerto Rican resistance flag of just resisting the colonization is occurring in Puerto Rico to this day from the beginning. And even today, we talked about it on episodes, the privatization of the electrical grid, the rebuilding of the grid and all the money that's going to Puerto Rico to rebuild fossil fuel infrastructure instead of building sustainable green solar panels when the country gets so much, when the island gets so much sun. They're just the results of colonization. I could talk for the whole show just about Puerto Rico stuff. But I'll pass it on and we'll weave in Indigenous Peoples Day throughout other topics.
Definitely. The first video we're going to go to is something covering Look, I cannot pronounce it today, but that we're gonna be covering that. Much love to Rafael Rodriguez in the chat. Much love, Izzy. What's going on?
Yeah, just to follow up on Gabe's point, Christopher Columbus,
Yeah,
colonization, gentrification, appropriation, the Red Sox Nation.
yeah. Red Sox. That was for John. That we coming to John on that one. He can respond.
The Red Sox are as bad as colonists.
Bendone, what's going on, my man? Wait, actually, no. Don't say it. Wait, what? We live?
Not the mic.
I know. I'm about to say, you know what?
What is happening here?
Let's skip
donate to the
Bendone.
Get Bendone a mic fund.
Yeah, we got to start a whole new
His
fund.
mic sounds like corn pops.
John, what's going on with your Red Sox, my man?
My Red Sox
What's
are
the
winning
score?
4-0.
It's
You
4-0.
serious right now?
One game away on the championship, from the AL championship. So we would like to see how many the Yankees fan for the next round. If the Astros wins, who are they going to root for? They're going to root for the Astros or the Red Sox.
Oh, interesting.
Honestly, I think I'd almost go Red Sox. I hate the
Oh,
Astros that much. I hate those
really?
cheaters that much. At least the Red Sox don't cheat.
Oh,
Listen,
They might beat
really?
us, but at least they don't cheat.
I gotta ask my wife how she feel about it because she's a big Yankees fan. I'm curious now too. All right,
Well,
so
the Yankees right now are golfing with the Mets.
okay. All right, so let me get this party started. I'm gonna show this video. It's a very good video. I'm gonna play it. Let me see.
Christopher Columbus,
Here we go.
one of the great
back.
European heroes, turns up on the island of Hispaniola, now Haiti and the Dominican Republic, when there were about 8 million native people living there. Within 40 years, there were 0. He was welcomed by the native people. They embraced them, they treated them with fantastic hospitality. His soldiers snatched babies from the breasts of their mothers and dashed their heads against the rocks. Children were fed alive to his dogs. Women's breasts were cut off. He decided to hang 13 of the Native Americans in Hispaniola to recreate the crucifixion of Jesus, plus the apostles. So he hanged them in a way that their toes could just touch the ground. Then he disemboweled them and then he burnt them to death. It's true that the majority of people died there of disease. Disease is introduced by the Europeans unwittingly, but many others were driven to death through overwork, direct murder, through starvation as their resources were taken away. Columbus insisted that everybody bring him a certain amount of gold, and those who failed to do so had their hands cut off. Some were sent back to their villages with their hands and their noses tied round their necks, having been amputated by his soldiers. And what he did there set the pattern for the genocidal extermination of almost all the Native American peoples. 100 million before Columbus made landfall. By the 19th century, that had come down to less than 1 million across the Americas. And this genocidal project was not just a byproduct of European colonization, it was a deliberate effort, an effort overtly endorsed by such revered figures as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, who wrote about the necessity of wiping out Native American peoples. Double down for principled reasons.
Damn, homie.
Nah.
It
Jeez.
confused me because at first he's like, Christopher Columbus, the hero, this and that, and then all of a sudden he gets real. I'm like, what side are you on, bro?
It's crazy. That's crazy.
Yo, how you gonna cut off women's breasts, man? Come on, that's terrible. Terrible.
Pal, that's how.
Yeah, that's just there's a book called by Howard Zinn, The People's History of I think America or the US, and it definitely went into details on a lot of the things that this guy briefly talked about. And man, I was going through that book and it's just so depressing. I had to take a break and then I never went back to it. So at some point I hope to finish that book, but
I'm depressed about this show right now.
Yeah, not a good, but it's Christopher Columbus Day, aka I hope they really officially change it to Indigenous Day and Indigenous
Peoples
There we
Day.
go.
This guy, he can say like the
indigenous
simple
people.
things. Like,
I know it's just
if it was me, you could be like, okay, like his English is not that great, but like,
damn. Now once I hear
He's already
somebody
good
else say
looking.
it, Once somebody else said that, I got it. But yeah. So definitely, I hope that we can officially change it and continue to educate the masses, because I think as each year goes by, it seems like more and more people are getting more educated about who Christopher Columbus really was, instead of the education that I remember getting as a little child, and the 3 boats and like glorious finding America, and I didn't hear any of this other craziness. But I hope that, and I had a mentor that was Italian, and he was very like into Christopher Columbus and had a lot of pride. But I would be curious to wonder what he thinks now. I'm sure he's in denial. I'm pretty sure. Anything?
Well,
Go ahead.
on Last Week Tonight, they did a clip of I forget the guy's name on Fox News, how he's basically like revered Christopher Columbus on like 50 different episodes. There's so many people that are just fully so proud of this guy, and you know, to touch on your point before, like you were saying that, you know, we need to learn our history about Christopher Columbus, but also I think we need a better education on how to treat indigenous peoples and how to like you know, revere them and how to respect them and how to, you know, there's so much that we do to appropriate their culture, to like demean their culture, even unknowingly, you know. So I think that's very important too. We're not good about learning about the native people of this land, you know.
100%. I agree with you, because even to this day, I think there's a lot of knowledge that I'm going to be completely transparent. Like, I find out about things through movies and through TV shows. Like, they have their own police. Did you guys know that on reservations they have their own police? That the state police doesn't have jurisdiction over like their area. Like, it's crazy. And then another thing is a lot of indigenous women get kidnapped and go disappearing a lot of times too. Just like in the black community, there's a lot of black women that go missing and you never hear about it on the news. Go ahead, Izzy.
No, that there's an acronym for that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher it. It's MM. Oh man, I gotta look it up now. But there's an acronym for all these women that they get just completely mistreated or like you said, abducted. I mean, just all types of stuff. I wish I could remember the name of it now.
No worries.
One other thing that I learned today that I think everybody here would enjoy, if we want to make it a little bit lighter, is that apparently they use this word to label people who, you know, like mislabel themselves as natives. Pretendian. I don't know if anyone's ever heard this word, but I think certain of us on here who love Elizabeth Warren might.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Let me give a quick shout out before he leaves. Independent Left News. Wait, hold on, Bendon. I'm gonna go to, but I just want to give a quick shout out to Independent Left News. Much love to you. And Game of Life probably came over from Harlan's Media. But go ahead, Bendon. Much love, gamer.
I was saying Gabe is a pretendian homeschool teacher.
Oh, we're not even there yet.
I know.
I know, right?
Out of nowhere.
Talk about jumping the gun.
I know, right? You could have saved that. You
Talk about spoilers.
Yo, let's stay on this subject. I know Gabe has something to say about this topic before we move on.
I was just gonna say,
go ahead, buddy.
So, you know, make sure you're teaching. If you have kids, teach your kids this history and learn it, because, you know, as I was helping my daughter with her homework. She's in 5th grade, and I'm seeing the propaganda they're being fed about, you know, oh, Christopher Columbus was this great explorer and this and all the other explorers that came over. And you see like a minor mention, oh, they all died of disease. And it's like, what? That's like, can we talk about that more? It's just like thrown in there as like an aside. Yeah. So I took the opportunity as we were working on the report. The report was writing an article as if you were somebody in that time. So we made the headline, Columbus discovers China, to highlight his failures, because that's what he thought. He legit thought he got here and discovered not only a new trade route to China, he fell past it, but he thought Hispaniola was Japan. So he was just a catastrophe in his navigation. He's a failed explorer. And then also another thing I learned was that he left his mistress's cousin on the island of Hispaniola with about 40 men. And before he left home, when they came back for the second voyage, those guys were all, because the natives were like, no, they're not treating us well over here. So they revolted against them. But unfortunately, they were overwhelmed eventually by mostly disease, but also the weapons. And there's a terrible quote from Christopher Columbus where he talks about how the primitive the weapons are and how they could be overwhelmed by I think it was like 40 men. 40 well-armed men could overwhelm these savages. And he's not a man to be celebrated. He shouldn't have a holiday. And definitely look up your history. It's there. If you want to look up and learn, it's all out there. And I still learn to this day, as do all of us.
But I thought we were trying to bring this to a lighter note.
Nah, I just wanted to finish this topic.
I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit because we were talking. I was about it with my daughters about similar topic, but they were having fun coming up with examples of Columbusing. They learn what Columbusing is.
Okay, what's that?
That's when somebody they invented something and they it's been there all along, just like Columbus. So like somebody goes to a restaurant and tell their friends like, man, hot new restaurant, they got the great drinks, and be like, girl, I took you there last week. What you talking about? Columbus.
Yo, that's hilarious. Yo, I just want to give another shout out. So Independent Left News, he said he wants to come on the show and strategize. Maybe I don't know if we strategize that much on this show, but I know Progressive War Room, we definitely strategize. So one of these days I gotta invite you over because I love strategizing with people, see how we can make the progressive movement expand and grow. So yeah, let's move on from this depressing topic, but much love. Let me
give you another positive thing, Case, though, real quick.
Go ahead.
There was some news recently. There was a lot of areas that under Trump, there was indigenous areas that they were opened up for, they were supposed to be protected, and they were opened up for, probably to dig, mine, or whatever. And Biden reversed that decision. So there's a lot of areas that are now again protected, and he gave kind of authority for like some Indian tribes to be like in charge of how to handle things over there. I don't know the exact details, but I know at least that the areas are now protected again, and they got reversed.
Awesome. That's good news. All right, let me go to this tweet real quick. And this is about the mayor of, or hopefully soon mayor of Buffalo, who's going to be a socialist. But listen to this. The Glenn Gold Democrat allegedly made about 300 stock trades with a total value ranging from about 3.2 million to 11 million, but didn't file the periodic reports required by the Stock Act. Now, why is this relevant? So that's a person, that person did not endorse the Democrat, basically. Right? Tom Swolsey backs Buffalo mayor's bid to defeat the socialists. So that just shows you that this guy is definitely corrupt. And of course he's corrupt, so he's not going to support socialists in the race. Sorry.
Alan Amberser said, when are we giving Oklahoma back to the Native Americans? It's like, when are we giving this whole country back?
Yeah, that was set a precedent.
Oklahoma's a tiny,
I heard that the history of Oklahoma was that they wanted to make it a state originally, but then there were too many natives and they would have had a state with native power. So instead they waited till the number of white people got good enough, or so that they could then make it a state and it wouldn't be so overwhelmingly Native American.
I mean, they could have given him like 2/5. The blacks were 3/5. They could have given 2/5 to lower the numbers down.
Damn. I think also I can't remember if it was Oklahoma or what, but apparently a lot of Native Americans were kind of like forced out of obviously their native areas, their native land to be in Oklahoma, and so that may be part of like how we know Oklahoma, like as being a very native heavy land, but that's not even where a lot of them are from. It's like forcing a whole bunch of Puerto Ricans to go to Dominican Republic and being like, all right, well, give Dominican Republic to the Puerto Ricans. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to them. So we all, there's a lot of history that like Gabe said, we all have to learn.
Oh, let's also remember the socialist America giving people money and land if they will move out west.
Yeah, I wonder if Holly asks, is she Native American also, the socialist? I don't know. That's a good question. And then I'm going to go back to that graphic probably later on the show, but I'm going to do what I advertised.
Low-key threw up that graphic. And
then I kept it moving. You want me? We're going to play. I'm going to bring it back later, but I want to basically I want to bring up the advertisement, what I advertised in the tweet. I put that we're going to real quick go over a sneak peek of the new People's Gauntlet website. All right. I know that's what everybody's waiting for. All right, here we go. It's going to be the new site. and you're going to be able to click on each of these pictures, and it's going to go to the candidate's personal PG page. That's what I'm going to call it right now. But see, down here is going to have, these are all the interviews that I did promoting the People's Gauntlet. And anybody who wants to get know the latest news on the People's Gauntlet, they could sign up for the newsletter, right? And here's this page is not fully formed yet, but it's going to have all the candidates here. You'll be able to search. As you can see, this is a nonpartisan organization, so it's going to have a section for Democrats, Movement for People's Party, Green Party, even a Republican. If you want to do the People's Gauntlet, you can do it, and you can be on the site. And non-affiliate third party will also be. So any party could pretty much be on this site. But of course, this is a progressive organization. It is a leftist organization, so we care. It's topics that the left cares about. And then services. These are services that's going to be offered. So right now, I do all the videos that you've seen so far. I edit and I direct I don't direct what the people say. I let them say what they want to say, of course. But I just make sure that they're looking into the camera, things like that. And but at some point, once you get to like 100. Once it gets to a bigger number, I'm not going to be able to do it for everybody. So I will stop doing it for free, and then I'll provide it as a service. And then here's Brooke Hines, who I've done progressive war rooms with. She's a great political consultant. So I put her on the site. So if anybody running for office, if you're grassroots, you could contact her. Here's a progressive pollster. I interviewed David last Thursday, I believe. Very good guy. And here's one more campaign consultant, Kayla. All right, so that's under services. Sometimes it's hard to find or even know where to start. So hopefully when grassroots candidates, when they come to this site, is all about trying to help grassroots candidates. So that's why I wanted to have a services page, and this page is going to grow as we get more people on here. And then the last thing is going to be about us. But here's the main kicker, the people's page, or the candidates page. So here's an example of SAS's page. You'll be able to go to peoplesgauntlet.com/SAS, and it's going to have all of his gauntlets in a very easy to find. See, student loan debt, blah, 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 whatever you want to click on. And then you just click on the video, and it's going to have that topic there. Gauntlets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, justice, democracy, domestic, foreign policy. All right, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to spend too much time. Anybody have any questions for me real quick?
When is this going live, Case?
When is it going live? Great question, Gabe. I'm thinking that I'm hoping by this Friday. But worst case scenario next week. But we're pretty much done, and I'm just waiting for one more person to log in, and I have 4 candidates, so that when they log in, then I'll be able to set up their page. And then down the line, it's going to be more scalable, because then people are going to be able to set up their own page. That's the phase. So this is phase 2. Phase 3, just to give you guys another little sneak peek, I'm so excited about phase 3. And phase 3 is going to be the candidates who are people's contenders, meaning they finish all 5 gauntlets. They're going to be able to invite their volunteers to the site, right? So now their volunteers are going to be able to have membership. And then the idea is when they do phone banking, when they do canvassing, when they do any kind of volunteer work that, they don't get paid for, they're going to get PG points. So if you think about it like Reddit, how they have karma points. I don't know if anybody here uses Reddit, but you can get points, and you build up clout, and you get badges. Maybe once a week you get volunteer of the week, or maybe once a month, whoever has the most points in phone banking, you get phone bank person of the month or phone bank person of the week. And then you'll be able to cash in on these points. Maybe you get a t-shirt. I was telling the candidates maybe that they can decide how they want to gift out and cashing in on these points. So these are just some of the ideas, and it might change up here and there, but that's the overall point, is to have a synergistic website, right? You're having the candidates come to the site, they're pouring their heart out with these gauntlets, but then you have the volunteers who are then pouring out their volunteer time and helping out the candidates. So it's a big synergistic relationship. So any last questions before we move on? All right.
In the chat, they're talking about which Republicans are we gonna grill. So if you
we're gonna get
can you become a Republican people's contender if you're not supporting the leftist policies?
For those of you who are watching for first time, Gabe is a progressive Republican, so he'll be the first one up there.
There you go, Gabe. You gotta speak up, Gabe. You gotta speak up.
You got jokes.
I'm much.
Didn't you say you were running Florida as a progressive Republican?
It's a consideration. I will say that.
So how do I have jokes?
Labels, I don't label myself as
publicly
anything. I label myself as a common sense
Yo,
candidate.
I'm dead serious though, guys, because I really think, and I would love to see. I wish we had the infrastructure to do it right now. I don't think we're there yet. But with the Trumpers fighting the establishment Republicans and their button heads, I would think that you can sneak in. Let's say it's a very red district, a very, very red district. I think we can sneak in a progressive Republican, because all you would need is like 30% of the vote. So almost the opposite of what Donna Shalala, I believe, right, Gabe? What she did in your race, where all the progressives split up the vote and she snuck in there with like 30%. I really believe a progressive Republican can kind of sneak in there and to the point that as soon as they win the primary, they win the election, right? Because that's what happened with AOC. As soon as she won the primary, that was such a blue district that she pretty much, everybody knew that she was going to win. So what you guys think? Am I crazy?
No, apparently not. And Chris says, Gabe, they're so dumb down here, you could pull it off. So apparently, I don't know if she's giving you a lot of credit or she's just taking credit away from the people.
I know Chris is a Floridian, but let's not talk bad about my for future.
Yeah. Gabe, You don't want to get Gabe in trouble with opposition research. If he agrees with you, the opposition research is going to come out.
They're going to clip this.
They're going to clip it for the ad.
My wife always says, "Oh, you're all you're doing is making Republican hit videos every week. You're just gonna go up there and take all your videos, and that'll be the opposition when you run."
Yeah. All right, so my man Carlito, we ready for the rundown?
Yo, man, this better be a rapid fire this time. Forget the musket.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah, let's do it.
The rapid
All right,
fire.
first story. South LA community group loses bid to acquire Crenshaw gentrification. They decided to organize and raise enough money themselves to buy the plaza. They brought in expert local architects, which were involved in prestigious projects such as the National Museum of African American History and Culture in DC, and they put in the largest bid. So the community offered, building expertise, the most amount of money, and they still didn't get them all. They sold it to somebody else. Now, I don't want to assume it was because of old-fashioned racism that they didn't want to sell it to Black people, but maybe could it be old-fashioned greed because maybe there were some kickbacks involved or something? I don't know. What you think, Case?
Yeah, I think that this is a really crazy opportunity for you to come to me because I was not paying attention out here checking out YouTube. I think YouTube is now. Yo, so I was just checking it out.
I hope you. Let me help you out here.
I would have asked Bedon, but he a punk. He said, "Don't ask me."
My bad. No, literally,
you're honest, right?
No, I tried to play it off, but I was like, yo, I didn't listen to this guy at all. And I saw it said OBS. I'm dead serious. Something's going on. So please, anybody else jump in so I can just double check YouTube real quick.
Yeah.
Basically, the question comes down to is my money not green enough, right?
Yeah.
No,
I think this is typical what they usually do. I guarantee you that there's something that they see in there, right? It's like the same thing with Washington Heights, right? Washington Heights, they probably saw it. If you notice, Washington Heights is heavily Dominican. They have pushed all the Dominicans out of it, and now it's heavily whites. They can increase your rent. I guarantee you that they see something. If you look at Crenshaw from that show, the All American, it's only like 20, 25 minutes from Beverly Hills or so, right? It's not that far from Beverly Hills. So you see, and they talked about the developers that they give it, like, oh, the developer has so many successful buildings and creation in the LA area. So that what they're going to do is they're going to come in and bring in all these high-end, push all the African-American out of Kershaw and make it like a white community watch. That's typically what they do with all these developers.
I think YouTube
I wouldn't be surprised.
again.
It's like five years from now, they increase the rent so high that nobody can afford it, and people have to start moving out of the area, and that's what typically they all do.
Yeah. I think we're down again.
I still see it moving a little bit.
You see it?
Choppy.
No, I still see it. I still see it. I think so.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay. I got buffering. Yeah, Twitch is live,
He gets moving.
but
I see
not Twitter or
Yeah.
YouTube.
Let us know in the chat if you can still see us and if we're still good. But go ahead, Carlito. Listen.
Sorry, Chris. Case, I try to help you out there.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I mean, I didn't know. Yo, he caught me off guard on that one. You gotta let me know. Give me a heads up or something. Lord.
Yeah,
Throw the
man.
rundown. What do you?
No, it was in a rundown, but at that moment, I'm here looking at other stuff. Like at that very moment.
The funny thing is that he started to like kind of talk about it. Nah, I gotta be honest.
That's what we appreciate about you,
I try.
A man of principle.
Let me see. Holly said,
right,
"Not now."
We're good. Keep it rolling.
So
Keep
saying
it
we're
rolling.
good.
All right,
we're good.
cool.
Okay, go ahead.
Next story. Merck sells federally financed COVID pills to U.S. for 40 times what it costs to make, by Sharon Lerner at The Intercept. So the COVID-19 treatment, molnupiravir, was developed using funding from the National Institute of Health and the Department of Defense. So you need to know. So a 5-day course as this new medicine is being hailed as a huge advance in the treatment of COVID-19. It costs $17.74 to produce, according to a report issued last week by drug pricing experts at the Harvard School of Public Health at King's College Hospital in London. Merck is charging the U.S. government $712 for the same amount of medicine, or 40 times the price. So, like I said, yes, the National Institute of Health and the Department of Defense spend at least $29 million on the drug development. So this is another example of private corporations profiting from our tax dollars and gouging us. Are you surprised, John?
Not at all. This happens all the time, right? The federal government go ahead and fund all this research, and then they paid 500,000 times the price for it. And it's funny because Merck was trying to say like, oh, we didn't receive any money from the federal government because everything went to Emory University, and Emory University sell the rights to Merck, who Merck then sell the rights to someone else. So, but it happens all the time. We always have this discussion internally, right? How some people, the big pharmaceutical people, are like, well, all this research and marketing money that we spend, they don't spend all that money, and they always want to take advantage of it. At the end of the article, it says here, according to Gotham, who is based in London, the short story of whatever that thing's called, Manipuri, I can't say the word, but the pill already sum up to the best and the worst of the US pharmaceutical system. It's a great coup that the American government fund some scientists to develop antivirals, he said. The great strategy is that after their great success, they just give it away to private industry with apparently no string attached.
Yeah. So in a chat, Heller said they canceled one of the trials, the clinical trials, because it doesn't work. Oh wow.
Oh, really? About to say, watch they have like they open up the substance and see a whole bunch of ivermectin inside of there. They'll be like, "Yo, we trying to repurpose this."
he specifically said he said schmivermectin.
They real quick. One good thing that you guys talking about that, they said that they also were giving it to there's some 5 pharmaceutical in India, and they're going to price it at $17 per pill for 5 days. For 5 days. So in India, it's going to be $17. In the US government's paying $700 for it.
I mean, if we learned anything from Bernie, right? I mean, don't we pay how many more times the prescription cost of Canada for the same exact medication?
Yeah, like 10 times
because
more.
In Canada, John, they're allowed to bargain, negotiate prices.
Negotiate. That's what it is, and that's what Kristen Sinema and what's his name, Joe Manchin are preventing us from being able to do that. They didn't want to do that.
But Sinema ran on that, right? That's what she ran on it. She ran on lowering prescription drugs.
Yep.
I've been told by
people like calling all red times 10 right now, right?
Yo, seriously.
Go ahead, Gabe. I've been told that by people that work in the pharmaceutical industry, that the U.S. market subsidizes the rest of the world because the rest of the world is so affordable that they make all of their money off of us. Yeah. So we fund the research, and then we pay the highest prices in the world. It's completely opposite. So I think in these regulation, in any a company that is taking public financing to develop these drugs, then the U.S. government should own at least a portion of that. Yeah, the taxpayer should.
Yeah, but also remember that a lot of times our taxpayer dollars goes into the research and development of these drugs too. So my thing is just straight up, like if we're coming up with the R&D, And then what we're doing right now is we're farming that out to them to produce it. Like, we might as well just produce it ourselves also. Right?
Yeah, might as well. Might as well. Because a lot of these companies, they're not doing, first of all, they're not doing any basic research, like they used to, because the government will do it, because the companies, they don't want to spend money on research that is not, it's possibility. I mean, it most likely it's not going to come out to be a product they could sell at the end, just from basic research. So the government, as they should, they fund this research until we find some things that are that could be commercialized. And then that's when the private market steps in and they make all the money. But at least they should kick back at the very minimum, like the money that they spend on the research, kick it back to the government or something.
Yeah. E. Heller said nationalize the drug companies. I totally agree. Alan said, stop trying to take money away from corporate interests. How dare you? That's what Alan was saying. And Gamer said, most prescription drugs are really expensive. All right, go ahead, Carlito.
All right, next story.
Yeah.
Spanked by pandemic fallout, homeschooling surges across U.S. by David Crary for the AP. So this is not totally unexpected. Many parents were forced to become teachers' assistants as the kids went virtual. Many others were still inconvenienced and were forced to seek different accommodations, including homeschooling. The surge has been confirmed by the U.S. Census Bureau, which reported in March that the rate of households homeschooling their children rose to 11% by September 2020, more than doubling from 5.4% just 6 months earlier. The rise included the usual suspects wanting to do it for religious reasons, but also parents of kids with special needs. And the biggest surprise for me was that the Black households saw the biggest jump. The homeschooling rate rose from 3.3% in the spring of 2020 to 16.1% in the fall. The National Black Home Educators is a group that provides content for each academic subject pertaining to African American history and culture. They went from 5,000 members before the pandemic to more than 35,000. Is that the group that you joined, Gabe, or was it the Republican Conservative Educators of America?
Oh, I want to give a big shout out to Florida virtual schools. I think as a lot of other states are struggling with this going back to school, Florida and Miami-Dade have come up with a really effective school system, and they continue to for students that want to stay remote. We've kept our kids remote and are taking advantage of this, and they are at home. So while the haters like Bedone and Izzy will say that we're not homeschooling, our kids are schooling in home, and there's this online virtual curriculum, and I think it's a great thing. And I think a lot of other people, out of desperation and out of fear, are choosing to keep their kids at home, and also freedom. Like you want the freedom to not have to go. If you're not going to the office, why do you want to go and do that whole rat race commute back and forth? So people are looking at things different now during the pandemic, or because of the pandemic, and not wanting to go back to the way things were. So
Gabe,
go ahead, Izzy.
So Gabe, do you so that great Christopher Columbus article that you wrote, so you're the one that graded?
What's that?
So you grade your own paper since you're homeschooling and everything?
Yo, give him an A, Gabe. Give him an A.
Where are we schooling at? Are we schooling in the classroom, or are we schooling at home?
I'm asking you. You grade your own paper?
We got to check every assignment. It's very intensive.
Man. Yo, I think Gabe is Columbus in the definition of homeschooling.
I'm gonna have to agree with that one. Yeah. I did think that, I agree with you, Carlito, that the Black population that's increasing in homeschooling is pretty interesting. But overall, I have as a person with no kids, I have a disdain for homeschooling. And most of the people that I know personally who have done it are wackadoodles. Like, they are out of their minds. They are, their version of homeschooling is taking their kid out to like go pick up some sticks, and like they know nothing about they don't know math, they don't know science. Like, what are you really teaching these kids? And I understand that they still have to, depending on the state, they still have to stick to some kind of curriculum. But those kids, I feel bad for them. I mean,
do you think Kyrie Irving was homeschooled?
Oh God, absolutely. Are you kidding me? First flat Earth and now this? Yo, he was homeschooled.
Now I hear you what you're saying, but I think that might be a stigma, because I've heard of those stories too. But there's definitely legit homeschooling that goes on. That I just don't know the percentage. Like I don't know how many.
I have yet to see it.
Yeah. I don't know how many
I
is
have
bad and how
examples
many is
in
good.
my family where were homeschooled, and all the kids that were homeschooled are like brilliant. They like play instruments out of They like they are working now in all different fields, from law to government to medicine. So I think that it's what you make of it, like
exactly.
anything, you know.
Well, but let's put it this way too, though. Like, it's what the parents make of it, right? And think about parents these days. Think about parents at all. Think about people these days. How stupid are we? Like, you're gonna leave that to like, you know, these people they're not made for being teachers. You know, they weren't educated to be teachers. Teachers have to go through a lot of schooling just to be able to school someone else. Like, so having these random parents do all this on their own when they barely even understand the basics of like math and science.
So it depends.
It varies a lot. It varies a lot.
Yeah.
I know somebody, man. He's a really smart person, but he was homeschooled up until maybe high school or to middle school. But he, even though he's a smart guy and well-rounded and everything, he noticed a lot of the pitfalls of homeschooling because of how kind of, like you said, wackadoodle his parents are. You know, some people here in Georgia, you know, southern Georgia, that are kind of, you know, sus, let's just say. So you know, but with that said, one of the things, not from this article that I read elsewhere, is that this rise is also being taken as an opportunity to kill public schools. The same people that talk about education choice, they want to use this opportunity to bring out more homeschooling, take out funding from the public schools, and just use this as another hit against public schools. So, you know, any opportunity.
That's bad. As someone who grew up in the public school system and got a halfway decent education out of it, that saddens me to hear.
How many?
A lot of people crap on.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, just that a lot of people crap on public schools, but I mean, you know, depending on the kid and depending on the parents, you could really make it work.
Yeah. Let me ask you a quick question, Izzy. What was the max amount of students you had in your class at one time?
Oh, I mean, it was always huge. Yeah, I mean, we're talking like, 35, 40 kids. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let's see. And the public schools, I mean, first of all, stop funding public school with property taxes. That'll fix a lot of it. But when I was like, I had a kid that was in private school for a few years. So I looked into this a lot back then. And when it comes to achievement, this really is no different from public school and private schools. It really depends on the school and the district, how much funding the school gets, parent involvement. I mean, if you see some place, I mean, all you gotta see is look at the line of school pickups in the suburbs. These are people that are there like an hour ahead because they got nothing better to do. So they got all the time to take care of the kids. Sometimes they don't, you know, they're stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home dads or whatever. They could volunteer for all kinds of PTAs and school stuff. So those are the schools that usually have, you know, better achievement because the parents, they got the money and the time to be involved that much. And it happens to be rich neighborhoods because they have the luxury of having a stay-at-home parent sometimes, and their property, they have big houses, so a lot of property taxes, so the school gets a lot of money, and the parents got a lot of money, so whenever there's a fundraiser, they could donate a bunch of, you know, so public schools it varies, man. It just happens that, you know, when we're in some of the neighborhoods that we grew up with, you know, it's in the hood, we're poor, and so they don't get funding like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, like how, you know, now finally my little one went to public school, and all the emails that get like, oh, we're trying to raise $35,000, and we, you know, the teachers don't get this, and I'm just like, where's all the money really going? Why do these schools just don't get what they need? Like, why do we? And let's not even talk about the lunch. Like, their lunches that they're providing are just pretty bad. So you're right,
dude.
I think they got to be.
When my girl was in private school, man, it was a catered lunch. Okay, they'll come up with the menus like every week. That thing was fancy as
really.
Yeah, man.
Wow, that's interesting. I had some.
I don't understand like why some local schools just don't have agreement with local farmers and really teach our kids like how to eat proper. Like they just wanted they always claim like, oh, well, see, we tried it, they don't like it. Well, of course they don't like it because all you give them is stuff that's just not good for them. So you really just want to, you let the lobbyists dictate what you're going to feed our kids, and nobody wins.
I know at one point in New York City, they were trialing having a chef come in and do the lunches for multiple public schools and actually do whole food lunches. So like every ended if it is, because that's a great initiative and it's something that could work at other cities too.
Yeah, I know you can't do it at all schools, but I know in Japan they have literally like home gardens or like school gardens where they grow vegetables and fresh foods, and that's what they eat for their lunch. Literally, but you can't do that in the hood or like in concrete, jungles of New York City.
You definitely can. It's just a matter of being creative.
That's the all for nothing in the chat said. Food agriculture class, exactly. And Rafael Rodriguez, look at Japan. So
actually, Gabe, I stand corrected because there's something called vertical farming that I think is also, you could do indoor farming also. There's an
that takes a good amount of resources though, and probably technology too. But yeah, I mean, there's rooftop farming. There's I see there's little farms like the school right by me is all concrete, but there's little grass there where they grow a few veggies and stuff. Maybe they don't eat it, but it's still it helps them learn.
Yeah, I mean it's cute. You're not gonna feed a whole 1,200 kids off of that most likely, but at least it'll be helpful, and that could be the salad.
But you're teaching them, like we know, like America.
That's what I said. It could at least be the salad part of their lunch, and learn something.
If you look at that documentary we talked about last time, right? Like Where to Invade Next, when he goes to France, so like all their food is, have a chef, and and when you go to Sweden, there's no private school. Everybody go to the same. Everybody has the same education, same food system. Yeah. And here in America, we know that it goes back to Big Pharma. Big Pharma wants everybody to be obese, to have issues, high blood pressure.
The corn farmers.
Go ahead and have a 55-ounce soda. So it is what we teach our kids younger. If we start teaching them young at a young age how to do all this, then we could fix a lot of the problem that we have.
100%. Much love to Echo Man 16 and on the Twitch side. All right, let's move on to the next article. Next
and last.
Let's do it.
What the critical race theory panic was really about and the data to prove it by Julia Craven for Slate.com. So when I read this story, I did the whole Ace Ventura, honestly, so I'm going to keep it short. There's one example they gave in Gwinnett County, Georgia, near me, where parents have squared off over critical race theory. There has been a 52.4% increase in students of color since 1994. All these places that saw the white parents butthurt because they were teaching their kids the truth about America were really mad that the schools and neighborhoods were turning brown. And just to add a cherry on top, the people that flew to DC on January 6th to try a government coup were from neighborhoods that saw too many black and brown people moving into their towns. So Izzy, sing that song, one of your favorite songs for me. This is America. Okay, he's lipping up.
Okay, up. Yep, I was just listening to that the other day, actually.
Yeah.
Such a great video. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was an awesome video. Yeah. What critical? And anything else?
So everybody say nobody got anything to say because they're like, duh.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 8 minutes, so let's go straight into No Cow Zone. I'm glad PJ Neat is in the building, and let's see if he's going to cancel me and Gabe this week. All right, so here is the No Cow Zone topic. Should Bernie be the Joe Manchin of the left and say that he's going to prevent the infrastructure bill from passing unless it contains Medicare for all?
It doesn't matter. He won't. Boom.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that's that's not what this is about. No Cow Zone. Come on.
Well, I will say this.
Should he? Yeah. Would he? No.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, Case, and maybe this is where I take the opposite view, right? Like, you don't think that's pushing it too much? Like, we're already holding up the infrastructure bill just to get the Build Better Back, plan.
Yeah.
So Build Back Better. I mean, you don't think it's pushing it a bit to now try to throw Medicare for all on top of all that?
So first of all, let me let you guys know where I got this from. And I was listening to clipping one of Bernie Sanders' interviews, and he said he was talking about how it's not fair for just two people to be holding up the infrastructure bill. You know who those people are: Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin.
Cinema Mansion.
Yeah, right, Cinema Mansion. And he said, hey, you know, I could hold up the bill myself and say I want Medicare for all, but I'm not going to do that because da-da-da. And I was like, I wonder if there are people out there who do think maybe he should do that. So this is my Izzy, to answer your question. I totally agree with you, and this is something that I think about also. Like, you know, we always talk about we want the left version of the Tea Party, right? And so what would they literally be doing? See, so this time around they had those 9 moderate Democrats who were trying to force the vote on the bipartisan bill, which is the bill that they wanted, you know, the corporatist bill that has all their corporatist goodies in it. And they was trying to force the vote to have Nancy Pelosi vote on that. And then they was trying to encourage everybody to pass it because they know once they pass that, then the progressive bill, that's dead, right? So would we want that on the left? And to a certain extent, yes, I would say yes. For Bernie, I would want him to do that, but do it in front of the TV, but behind the scenes or at some point, try to see what you can get. So hear me out. I hear you guys disagreeing already. Hear me out. Let's say Bernie says, hey, I'm not passing this unless it has Medicare for all. Everybody's going to go crazy. Like, oh, what you mean? This is not even that type of bill. It's infrastructure. Is that okay? Give me, how about bring it down to 55? From 55 and up can get Medicare. Because right now it's 65 and up, I believe. If he said, okay, give me 55 and up and I'll go vote. So like a negotiating tactic. What you guys think?
No, I think
it's pushing it.
I think, and remember, I always been one of the biggest Bernie critics. I think for the reason why I would say no is because you have corporate media going after Manchin and Sinema, right?
Yeah.
And they are really like blasting them, which you don't even see that. I think I was seeing a clip the other day with the View was going after like Manchin and Sinema and talking about all their interests and stuff. So all the spotlight now is on them. If Bernie goes and do something like that, they're gonna be like, see, I told you the progressive are the one, they are holding everything.
Okay.
And sometimes you listen, they're not doing as much as they should, but sometimes you're like, you listen to some of these like news station, you're like, oh, whoa, like they actually are going after all these Democrats, which is very surprising. So right now,
I agree.
Take that spotlight. If you do something like that, you completely will give them to talk about something else. So I think this is not the right time to do it.
Okay.
So back on the left,
Is you agree with John?
I agree with John, and what I'll throw you a bone. I'll say whatever the next bill is after this bill. Okay, do it on that one.
Okay.
For this one, I think we already got as much as we probably can. So do it on the next one.
Now I totally agree with you. I was playing devil's advocate, and I think that that's how I felt. Someone could think about it, but I agree with both of you guys that he should do it though. Like everybody here agrees that he should do that. On a must-pass bill, like the Department of Defense budget, like the next one that comes up, and then I'm going to go to you, Gabe. I think he should do something like this, and even if he doesn't get, I don't expect him to get Medicare for all, but I expect them to capitulate to him to a certain extent, and even if he could bring it down to age, I will work with that. John, and then Gabe.
What he should do though is to say, or if you want to give us 1.5 trillion instead of 3.5, because we already came down for 6, I agree to 1.5 if you give him Medicare for all. That he should.
That's interesting.
Something like that, right? Because we went from 6 to 3.5. Now they want to stick it to us to 1.5. So what he says is, if I don't get 3.5, I agree to 1.5 if you give me Medicare for all. Something like along the line to scare them to say, okay, like we need to. Because if not, the 1.5, he should just definitely fight for that and hold that. Like 1.5 is not giving us anything.
Gabe.
I was just gonna say that the key, and I'm very impressed with the Democrats. Not all of them. I mean the ones that have been holding the line on the progressive side, the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Very impressed. I had zero faith in them. I think I've been let down enough where I thought they would eventually just give in, and they are holding strong. And I think what we're learning from them is that they have the numbers. I think John said this last week, was that even with the numbers, I was like, nah, they're not going to hold it. They're going to. If you have enough numbers on the House side, you can block things and have that power. My concern in the Senate is that if it's just Bernie and not Bernie plus Warren plus Markey plus Booker plus whoever, like, you need an equivalent type of block, because it would be very easy for them on a moderate bill to go and get like one Republican, to come over, and then it just wipes out all the work of those others. If it's just one, if Bernie's the only one holding it up, they can go get one Republican to vote for it and be like, hey, you want me to keep holding it up for Bernie, or you want people to go that way, or you want to get, something you want and negotiate with one Republican. So if it's Bernie by himself, I don't think he'll have that power. But if it is, a block, it's very similar to what they've accomplished in the House, I think use that as a model.
So
and I think let's also now, still not lose hope. I mean, we got to see this actually happen. We still don't have a bill that has passed. So while they've been holding strong, the proof will be in the pudding of, are they going to eventually get it passed?
So as we end the show,
we can have something to take away.
As we end this show real quick, and it's 9:00, but I just want to ask this question real quick. So did force the vote and did March for Medicare for All, and did all the pressure, all the Dore fans, and there's some people that like Jimmy Dore here, some people who don't, but was it all worth it to the point where we have progressives standing up now? I'm thinking, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but I think they got hit enough with force to vote. Then, March for Medicare for All, people was mad that none of the squad came out for March for Medicare for All. They didn't come up and show out. They didn't tweet anything to promote it. This is something that they care about, yet they did not support it at all. They got a lot of heat, tax the rich, that situation with AOC going to the Met Gala. They got hit with so many different criticism that I'm wondering, at this point, they said, yo, we got to put our foot down. Otherwise, our people are just going to kick us out. What you guys think?
Nah.
No, they're learning. I feel like they're learning. I think that they're learning that you have to, when you have a ground to stand on, don't capitulate. And I think the previous time we saw was like fight for 15. Like there were plenty of bills where they could have gotten the $15 minimum wage in. That's right. And they said, don't worry, we'll get to it. That's right. They didn't hold the line.
They did not hold the line.
I think that they saw they saw the failure, and they're like, you know what, we're not going to keep getting punked around and keep getting promised later. We're going to hold our ground. So I think that it looks like finally, after decades, the progressives are learning that if you just stand together, you have a strong group.
The question is, what did the force the vote or the march had forced him to do that? I don't think so.
I definitely don't.
Go ahead.
I think I just want to quickly say that I think that what forced them to do that is the fact that they have Biden's support. This is exactly what Biden ran on. How often do the progressives align more with Biden than some of the moderates and conservatives of the Democratic Party? So that's what they were basically, if they didn't take this opportunity now, they might as well just leave their jobs. Like, this was the perfect opportunity to grab, and that's what forced it, not forced the vote.
But not only that, one of the reasons that they didn't do force the vote that they stated was that they wanted to save basically their political capital for something more worth it, something bigger. So they're using it now. So that's one thing. And also, a little shade over there you would throw in case they didn't support anything. Then they were supporting whatever. You wanted Tina to leave her race in Ohio to go to the march, which, you know what I'm saying? No. Come on now.
No, but they didn't even send a tweet. That's my issue with them. I mean, the only person that did show up was Cori Bush, but she didn't speak. So there was things that even if all the squad members inside and not even the squad, but like, Mondaire Jones and other people, I don't know if he considers himself a squad member, but even if they would have just tweeted about it, it could have been twice as big in each city, potentially. You
I'm
understand?
pretty sure there was some tweets at least, man.
No, there was not. There was zero. I would have seen something. Trust me.
All for nothing. 388 said. Oh, let me just scroll back up. Them's most likely losing midterms, so they know that this is their only chance. That's another big part of it too. I mean, we know that they are losing the midterms if they do not heavily support this. So that's a big part too. I this forced to vote, man. Get out of here with that.
You know who's not losing in the midterms is Mansion and Cinema, which is why they could care less because they're not up for vote this time.
Not even running in the midterms.
Yeah.
All right, much love, everybody. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's give the chat some love on our way out. I want to give love to PJ Chris, who's over there, All for Nothing 388, War Program. PJ Neat is in there. Holly Horn, much love to PJ Holly. Rafael Rodriguez, I know you're out there. Who else? Much love to my people.
A lot of good input today.
Yeah.
Gamer for life.
Gamer for life, my man. Came over from Heartlands Media. I think he's a moderator. So much love to Gamer for life.
KRTD Media. I think that's the first time we've seen them in the chat.
I'm going on their show the 19th, October 19th. I believe, I don't want to say the time because I can't think of it exactly. I don't want to give the wrong time, but I'm going over there to promote the People's Gauntlet and also to talk about Case Study QB, how I do my clips. What else? What else over here? Thank you so much.
Silver Wolf,
yep. Yeah, thank you so much. Let me know. You know, we're always trying to get better. If you have any ideas, like and subscribe, of course. But if you have any ideas, any segment stuff that you want to do, any No Calzone discussions, you know, we're over here in the Discord. You could give us some ideas. In the future, we're going to have an app that you're going to be able to directly influence the show. You're going to be able to send articles. You're going to be able to send No Calzone suggestions directly to our Case Study QB app, which is coming soon. And look out for the People's Gauntlet this week or next week. There's going to be the new website. All right, let me go around the as Pendone
with the $10 super chat at the buzzer.
Oh, thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you for getting it in.
It's the Case Computer Fund.
We got to get this thing going. Benno, you can play us out with music if you want to. And I'm going to he said, oh boy. All right, so let me go around the horn for my guys. So thank you to Carlito, Gabe, Izzy, Bendone, John. Thank you for coming on the show. Any last words before we close out? Any last words from anybody?
Go Red Sox.
All right, and
cancel Columbus.
Cancel Columbus.
For Columbus.
Happy Indigenous Day. See, I got it right. Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah.
No pretendians.
No pretenders. And we got a couple new Patreons. Pedro Hernandez.
PJ Chris.
Nandy Vancher. PJ Chris. We got the money. Thank you so much. And Akbash. Yeah. Go ahead, Gabe. Do your dancing. Hey. Having too much fun. All right, y'all. See y'all next month.